Hi, Wes White, Salinas resident, co-president of the Salinas Monterey County Homeless Union. Calling in regards to the new agenda item that was asked for this last time, that's absent on this agenda for an update on the homeless ordinance as to why the rhetoric, reasoning behind it. And I mean, it was seconded and thirded, or buddied and thirded. Even Steve McShane was interested. So, I mean, I guess I was just curious as to why it's not there, hoping that, it can be compassionate and follow through. I mean, especially if people are connected with cars or HMIS, that they get some kind of immunity from sweeps, at the least. Because if we can identify them and we say they're going to help, then we should follow through and do that. Porta potties, there needs to be one for every 10 people. And hand washing stations, apparently these things don't get serviced often enough, so we need more porta potties there at established encampments. Yeah, there's many things, and I'd like to be a part of this process as well. Our homeless union representation. I mean, there's a good 1,500 homeless folks in Salinas directly. And, we need to make an ordinance that actually takes care of 100% of people, not just only 5%, while we, destroy 95% of everyone else's homes, while we say we're helping the homeless for less than 5% of people. So, I mean, there's organized space we can make, people who trash and food in this place. And I mean, there's so many solutions out there. It's just a political will to actually make it happen and treat people like people. And hopefully that is the thrust of this report and new ordinance coming. And we look forward to seeing it sooner than later on the agenda.
River Neville.
Thank you, Council, Mayor, and City Clerk. You might remember me from over 2 hours ago when this meeting was starting. I understand the technical difficulties, but I do want to stress that the public has a right to give comment, and we also have lives. We're not, we're doing our jobs, but we're not, serving in the capacity that you all are. And technical difficulties come up, but, I'm missing out on another meeting. I'm missing out on work, and, folks who have kids, folks who have jobs. It's really shocking that we should have to wait 2 hours. So my comment is in line with Wes's comment. I just really want to see this agenda item prioritized. It may not seem a priority to you as the city, but to people who are sleeping on the street in the wet and cold, or in the parks, it is a priority. And I see these folks every week, and I really strongly urge all of you to do the same, to actually come out and lend a hand and witness when Smith and Enright, a company that is paid perhaps towards $1 million a year by Salinas at this point, that company is leaving a huge mess. They're actually scattering trash, and they're destroying trees, destroying fragile ecosystems in some of the only, wild parts of Salinas. And so I really want to strongly urge you also to consider ending that contract. I feel that Smith and Enright has not held up their contract to actually do any cleaning. The campsites are always much messier when they leave than when they go. And we have documented photo evidence. And in addition to having if I can just finish, I would say, I think it would be great for the Homeless Union to actually give a presentation to council in the future. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. My name's Erin Peck. So I'm aware of the funding that's come from both the federal and the state government. And I was wondering why the homeless ordinance agenda item was not put into the agenda for this week. There's residents of Salinas that are sleeping outside. They're cold, and they deserve to have our tax dollars being spent in the way that it was appropriated for. The county and the city have received millions of dollars to help these individuals, but there's lack of accountability for the funding that's meant to serve them. 20 rooms at the Country Inn is not sufficient for the amount of people that are living outside. And there's huge gaps in services that need to be addressed as quickly as possible before more people die on the streets. And I'm here to offer any help in any way that I can to the city of Salinas in order to do so. Thank you very much.
Nick?
Thank you, Tricia and the council and mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to echo the sentiments that have been already expressed. I really urge the council to prioritize this homeless ordinance because, as folks are saying, the weather is cold, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and folks are dying on the streets. Not only that is when every time we sweep is that, you know, our unhoused residents here in Salinas are dispersed into the community, potentially furthering the spread of COVID-19 pandemic as our ICU beds reach full capacity. So, you know, we need to act with a sense of urgency because this is just, you know, a huge impending issue, a health issue. It's a human rights issue, and it's really you know, just the brunt of our housing crisis here. You know, we need long-term solutions, and sweeping people around from place to place is not a solution at all, right? We need affordable housing, we need services. I know we have the care center opening up, but that's only 100 people. That's less than 4% of our entire homeless population, you know, from the point of count in 2019. So, you know, really what we're looking for is, as Wes was saying, is a compassionate solution for our unhoused community members here. They're not, you know, outsiders who are coming in. Everyone we talk to have been in Salinas pretty much all of their lives. You know, I think there's a sentiment that if we, you know, treat people as the way they should be treated, you know, with a sense of compassion and care, that they'll flock here in numbers and you know, make our streets look dirty. But that's not the case, really. If you have those long-term solutions like affordable housing and things like that, and services for folks, you know, that the goal is to transition folks into stable housing, right? And you know, people like to remain in the cities that they grew up in and the cities that they know. So yeah, I just really urge just more compassionate long-term solutions and to prioritize this homeless ordinance. And as folks said, we are willing to sit, you know, at the table with council members to help guide the language of this ordinance, because we speak to homeless folks, to our unhoused folks every day, or every week at least.
Thank you, Carla, Salinas resident. I'd like to echo what everyone has said thus far. It's important to remember that even though we do have people on the ground that the city is facilitating money towards, they're not providing the resources needed fast enough to prevent these residents from continuing to not receive services that they already qualify. So these residents qualify for services that they're not receiving because they're getting swept, and then the groundwork is being pretty much deteriorated because you can no longer find these folks. So your counterproductive is not working. And not only that, but you're causing a health issue throughout the whole Monterey County. You have 1,700 new COVID-19 cases, and 800 of those are coming directly from Salinas. You have sweeps that are currently happening that are violating CDC federal law that we are all well aware of, yet you treat us like our intelligence doesn't exist. Like we wouldn't know about federal law or what is currently happening or where the money is going because the resources aren't being provided. The money that ended on December 31st, where did that money go? The Homeless Coalition had half of that money, but didn't facilitate it, presenting numbers, but didn't present data that shows who actually was helped. Show me who was helped. Don't show me numbers of who you contacted, because we all have contacted for several months. Yet you can't even put this on the agenda after you had 3 council members ask you to put it. Yet what was the recourse? Why wasn't it put on? That, you know, it's disrespectful to the constituents. It's disrespectful to your staff there to just undermine the authority of council members that we have voted in. Now we have to sit here and wait 2 hours to say this, to hold you accountable, to do your job. Thank you.
So no more hands raised, Mayor Craig, but we do have a few email public comments. I'll go ahead and read those. There's a couple of them that were form letters, so I'll just read whatever's different on the form letter itself. So dear Dear Salinas City Council, I ask that the City of Salinas immediately cease all actions that displace homeless residents and impact their ability to shelter in place under Governor Newsom's and the CDC's orders, specifically the cleanups of homeless suites that have taken place at Carr Lake, Chinatown, Sherwood Park, and elsewhere must stop. These actions do nothing but cause destruction, not only for shelters, but also of trees and wildlife habitats. The city's contract with Smith & Enright Landscaping Company is an egregious use of public funds and does nothing to clean, but rather to terrorize our unsheltered neighbors, leaving them nowhere to go. Allowing these homeless suites to continue will cost Salinas taxpayers hundreds of thousands that can be spent supporting homeless communities, cause irreversible environmental destruction, prevent homeless residents from sheltering in place, endangering the entire community, and defy Governor Newsom's and the CDC's mandates, potentially costing the city an expensive lawsuit. As residents, employees, and taxpayers of the City of Salinas, we demand that the sweeps immediately stop. It is well known that Salinas does not have sufficient shelter and resources to support our growing homeless population. Please take bold action and reallocate funds spent on homeless sweeps to creating long-term solutions for our homelessness and housing crisis. That was a form letter from Lorena Morales. Form letter with personal notes from Karen Partida. I urge you to have some empathy in your moral compass of working with citizens, working for citizens, and reconsider the threat you are enforcing on the vulnerable, unprivileged populations that have already been displaced and at a sensitive state. Karen Partida. Hello, I am writing in support of Carla Gonzalez's proposed MOU immediately to stop the sweeps of houseless communities in the city of Salinas. In addition to being utterly cruel and heartless, the practice puts our entire community at risk of COVID-19 by creating conditions that make it impossible for our unhoused neighbors to shelter in place. Destroying their homes and forcing them to move is harmful to all of us. The sweeps should be stopped immediately. Jessica Woolander. Hello, my name is A. Colin, and I am contacting you to demand that all sweeps of houseless shelters be stopped due to the violation of the shelter in place executive order and the April 2019 ruling by the Ninth Circuit, Martin versus Boise, that homeless persons cannot be punished for sleeping outside on public property in the absence of adequate alternatives. It is the opposite of mindful of a person's well-being to destroy their home/shelter. It's inhumane. It's the safety and comfort of houseless folks is being overlooked by those organizations that organizing the sweeps, and that is not okay. Dear Salinas City Council, my name is Mary Taraji, and I was born and raised in Monterey County. I've lived there for 29 years, and I've spent time being homeless there. Let me explain something about being homeless. If you don't have a safe place to stay, you have to keep moving. You can't stay in one place too long. If someone is living in a tent, and if you take that tent away, then they have to aimlessly wander. At a time when we are trying to minimize contact with one another, a homeless camp that's left with not choice but to wander the streets is only putting everyone at risk. This is a problem that our community has been dealing with for a long time, and for a long time, the solutions the authorities come up with are quick fixes that usually only aim to move the homeless away from the view but not ensure their safety. Whatever money you're spending on bulldozing homeless camps and jailing or ticketing campers, you could spend on paying for motel. It's not that impossible to achieve. The people in the community want to help. If you choose to work with us and reach out for help or donations, people would answer the call, and you would be at least acting like you give a damn. They added the form letter on that as well. And one last public comment. This one is from Trish Sullivan. Happy New Year and a hearty welcome to the new mayor and council members. Here's to a positive and productive year ahead. As a resident and business owner in downtown Salinas and a representative of the Steinbeck district, I speak for many others, including myself, when I respectfully ask for 3 very important issues to be addressed immediately in the downtown area. 1, and this is urgent, public toilets. At least temporarily, it is imperative that we have portable toilets in every parking lot and garage surrounding Main Street. It is currently a severe public health hazard. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, businesses are barred from allowing restroom use by the general public or customers. Well, before COVID-19, it was mostly homeless people using the downtown common spaces as a toilet. Now everyone is. Don't have a restroom. I'll take my kid out to crap in your bushes. Please see the attached plan for the pilot program to have a nice looking portable toilets for public use. The cost is much less than the cleanup after the fact. We volunteer to coordinate the efforts. 2, trash cans, placed every 30 to 50 feet on Main Street. There are currently only 2 trash cans on the 200 block of Main Street, one in front of the Golden Fish and one at the corner of Main and Gavilan, both difficult for people to find and inconvenient for our guests. The project of public space states, quote, one of the most common mistakes made in cities is placing waste receptacles where they are easy to empty rather than where they are convenient for people to use. Quote, good locations for waste receptacles are places where there are lots of people, such as a busy intersection close to the crosswalks, next to takeout food shops or food vendors, at bus stops, in plazas, outside major building entrances, and on a downtown street 6 to 8 waste receptacle block, and it goes on for another page.
I just also have huge concerns about the termination of Kerrigan from Merced. Maybe in the same article, it says that he was, when his termination was announced, an outspoken homeless advocate seated in the public arena criticized Kerrigan from the public podium. So already right there, the public local Salinas residents who are, often born and from this town have been, constantly going to these meetings since, I don't know what is September, October. Even before that, the Homeless Union has been really active for the past 5 years to really change the narrative of our and how we treat homeless folks in our community. And we're hiring somebody who is a known person who potentially terrorizes it, or at least does not take care of homeless folks in the city that he's coming from. So this is just really concerning for me. And then also just the outreach and transparency behind the appointment was just super lacking. We've been going to city council meetings, pretty consistently, and every time it's been behind closed door sessions, and when the city manager appointment is being discussed, and to constant contact, I'm guessing just means like a chain or like a mass email. Of course, only 10% is going to respond to that. So, if you send out 10,000, that's like what, 1,000 responses. That's less than 0.06% of our population here in Salinas. I think the city council, or the city in general, needs to do a better job in outreach to get consensus, or at least input from the public. Folks, social media, door handles, like we need to hit people, banners and like billboards. Like, to hit folks from like every angle to make sure that we're getting full input, because that is not democratic. To get 0.06% of the population to get input from the survey, that is just such a minority of the population to decide such a crucial role in our community that has sweeping powers, and very little accountability. Our elected officials are more accountable to the public, but this person is not. So
what I believe what resonates to me in listening to some of the callers and the emails was that Mr. Kerrigan really understands the seriousness of the homelessness issue we have here in Salinas. Not only did he say he's wanting to work with developers, business people, but he also said he wants to formulate some kind of unity, some kind of community with the people that really understand the problem that we're having, especially in Chinatown. and to the West Whites of our community, which I want to thank them for that, and all those that called. I think Mr. Kerrigan is ready to meet with strong advocates on these issues. So I think we're up to good solutions for our community. One word that I will say is we are responsible, and people have the right to judge us accordingly, but hopefully we will do the right thing and work as a good community and as a good team. Thank you.
I just really wanted to also speak to the constituents and the residents of Salinas that took time to come out to our public comment. We do value your opinions. We do value your time, and we'll try our very hardest to make sure that you know that. So thank you so much for coming to public comment today and making your voice heard. We hear you. And I just also wanted to talk to the rest of the council and get your guys' commitment to set a date to when we can come back with bringing up our homeless ordinance to the city, and really diving into what's been done in the past, and maybe even a little bit of input of what we should do going forward. From the sounds of it, it sounds like the community really wants to be heard on this, and we're going to make sure that happens. So any way that we can band together and really show our community that we're listening, I think that would be great. I want to say that we hear the public on our homeless and unsheltered. We will do our best to get that in a timely manner to everyone.
But I do want to say to the public, for as many of you, it was my understanding that we were not doing sweeps, that was against the health order. So I'm a little confused at why, we're still getting public comment on that, because I thought that was something we weren't doing. But also, just to understand for, as many people as, we're all concerned about our community and people who are, without home. And as many of you know, and, I'll just say it again for the new council members, my mother actually lives in a trailer, in a camp trailer. And, I consider her homeless in the Valley. So, this issue has touched my family a great deal. My father got cancer and couldn't work anymore, and they lost their home, and all of those things happened to my family. So I have a great sense, of despair for our community. And I know a lot of people, I have kids that are your age that have friends that are living in their cars right now because of COVID, and they couldn't afford their apartments. So I greatly sympathize. But we also, as council members, and get a lot of communication behind the scenes and emails from homeowners that are wanting the areas cleaned up. So, it's a constant battle for us as elected officials to deal with both sides of an issue and try to come up with a solution that fits everyone. And I really hope that, I'm in great high hopes that the appointment of our new city manager and the commitment of this new council will lead us down a great path to find solutions that are good for both sides of the aisle.
I want to take a moment to buddy up on Councilmember Osornio's request to have it a date set for the discussion on current practices regarding the cleanups, the rationale, and giving an update on what's going on right now. I know that Councilwoman Gonzalez also had that concern. I'm sure she'll follow up after I'm done sharing her concerns, but I'd like to buddy up with them on that.
Yes, thank you to Orlando and to Anthony for bringing up the cleanups again. And perhaps this is lack of clarification on my end, and for that I do apologize. In asking for information on the cleanups, I'm not necessarily asking for a formal report or, you know, a 3-month study. What I want to know is what is the status of current encampments and what is the status of the sweeps. And I know I've mentioned this before, I've been a legal observer, and it is a horrific thing to witness. So I want our residents to know that we feel that urgency and we hear it. We would be heartless not to. So I hear you all in that.